Today's episode of Ham Radio 2.0 is brought to you by Gifts for Hams. Find their website at www.gifts4hams.com. Get your call sign or club logo engraved on virtually anything you want. Specializing in ham radio-related gift ideas, Gifts for Hams is your one-stop shop for lighted call sign displays, coffee mugs, coasters, drinking glasses, smartphone cases, and so much, much more. Laser engraving and etching to show off your ham radio call sign or club. Shop gifts4hams.com and tell them that Ham Radio 2.0 sent you.
Hola, mi nombre es Noel, KF5SLK, KF5SLK de Watauga, Texas. Estás viendo la serie de podcast de video de Ham Radio 2.0, disponible en livefromthehamshack.tv or YouTube. Hey, my name is Noel, KF5SLK from Watauga, Texas. You're watching the Ham Radio 2.0 video podcast series available on livefromthehamshack.tv or YouTube.
Okay, thank you for that intro. Good afternoon. Welcome to Ham Radio 2.0, live from the Ham Shack. My name is Jason. I'm KC5HWB. This will be episode 76, my second episode of 2017. So thank you for watching me in the new year. This episode, we'll be setting up our first mesh node. Well, the first mesh node on this series, anyway. Setting up a mesh node. Those of you who know what mesh networking is, go back and watch my episode 47, which was a recorded forum from the Texas Hamcom, from the AREDN guys giving a presentation on mesh, and that'll give you a really good history on mesh, how it came about, how it works, and that kind of thing. Long story short, the way it works is we take off-the-shelf hardware Wi-Fi routers, and we put our own firmware on them and create our own network that's used for amateur radio. Started out, if you've heard of mesh network, you've probably heard of broadband hamnet. Before that was called HSMM, which was ham system mesh something. I don't remember exactly what HSMM. That was a little bit before I got into it. But I got into it when it was BBHN, broadband hamnet, and I had a couple of nodes set up here at the house for a little bit, and there was never anything to connect to close to me. It's all run on 2.4 gigahertz, which you can get some of them on 5.8 gigahertz and now on the 3 gigahertz band, which amateurs have privileges in that band. You can even get some down in the 900 megahertz band. But most of them are your 2.4 gigahertz right around the public Wi-Fi band. Well, what the AREDN guys have done is they've allowed their firmware to be able to drop down below the public Wi-Fi band and run in the amateur-only band. So most of these nodes are run on channel -1 or -2. That's just what they're called. Somewhere down the 2.401, 2.402 gigahertz range, 2.4 gigahertz. It's still around the public Wi-Fi band, but it's a little bit below it. There's several clubs in the North Texas area that are running the AREDN firmware and have multiple nodes connected across their networks. And you may say, well, what do you use the network for? Well, you can use it for pretty much anything you can use the internet for. You can run IP cams from the top of a water tower. There's a couple of guys that are doing that lets you see weather coming in. You can set up a VoIP phone system, which I've got one of those, and we'll be setting that up, not in this episode, but in a later episode. I'll probably show you guys that. And you can set up an IRC server. You can set up data sharing, information sharing. Anything you can do over a regular network, you can do over this wireless network that is made for outdoors, that will cover a city or a county, and works for amateur radio operators' use. AREDN, which is pronounced AREDN, which is the newer firmware. Broadband Hamnet is still out there. They're still making firmware updates and whatnot, but they don't allow, or their firmware doesn't allow you to go down into the amateur-only band, where the AREDN firmware does allow that. And there's a couple other features I'm told that AREDN has that Broadband Hamnet does not have. I haven't researched all that, but today we're going to be setting up an AREDN node. I've got a Ubiquiti Nano station that I'll show you here in a minute. And we're going to flash the AREDN firmware on it and put it up on the house and see if we can make any contacts with it. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, I don't know. But the Northeast Terran Amateur Radio Club here in North Texas, where I'm at, just updated. They've had a couple of mesh nodes running on water towers for several months, actually. And they just updated theirs to the AREDN firmware recently. AREDN is an acronym, AREDN, that stands for Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network. And the purpose behind mesh networking is that if the grid were to go down, you'd still have mesh networking up. Because if you have several points, several nodes that can all talk to other, and one of them goes down, the meshing is what's called self-healing. There's a term called self-healing. So if this one node's down, then all the other mesh nodes around it will see each other and they'll bypass it, so it doesn't bring your whole network down to just drop one or two nodes, assuming you have enough nodes out there to actually cover an area. So we did a push for this back, one of the local clubs and I did a push for this back, I don't know, a year and a half, a couple years ago, something like that. And that was before the AREDN firmware was available. And several of us put up nodes and we never could see each other because we're basically just too far away. 2.4 gigahertz is very line of sight. It's not made to go over large hops. But through perseverance and not giving up and some firmware updates and a lot of trial and error, hams in various areas around this area, around Austin, Texas area, have made mesh networking very, very viable. So I wanted to show you guys how to flash Ubiquiti Node, set it up, put it on the air, and we'll see if we can actually get any connection. I'm going to point it at the closest node to me, which is northwest of me, northeast of me. Well, there's one in either direction. I think I'm going to point it to the one northeast. But so we're going to see if that happens or not. So 73 guys, thanks for watching, and let's take a look at this video. Okay, here we go with the nano station. There are multiple choices for let me go grab my bullet real quick. There are multiple choices for Ubiquiti nano station. I'm sorry, for Ubiquiti 2.4 gigahertz radio to use as a mesh node. My bullet is off camera over here. It is... There it is. So I should have grabbed this before I started the camera. That's okay. It's live from the ham shack, right? So this is not rehearsed. All right, so this is a bullet right here. And I've had this bullet for, I don't know, 2 years, something like that. And it's currently got broadband hamnet firmware on it, but I haven't plugged it up in a while. And it's connected to this TP-Link 5-foot Omni 2.4 gigahertz antenna. So my original thought was to put this up on the house or on the shack, whichever, and have it be, the antenna itself comes with mounting connectors, and then I've got some galvanized weatherproof tape over the connector here to keep moisture from getting inside. Both up down here right on top of the bullet. The bullet has a Type-In connector on the top of it, and of course the antenna is a Type-In connector. So I put those together, taped it real good with this weatherproof taping, and then I did it over the connection up here also because the TP-Link looked like the seal in the TP-Link was not very good. So I wanted to make sure we kept moisture from getting into it. So my original thought was to put this up on the house and have it connect to the mesh network that was in my area. The problem with that, so I'm told, is that the 2 or 3 clubs around here that actually have a few mesh nodes up, more than just one, a lot of the clubs in this area have one node up. Some of them are connected to others and some of them are not. But the ones that have put up multiple nodes have told me that they find much better results with directional antennas, which the Nano has. The Rocket has a directional antenna. The Nano has a directional antenna. You can get an air grid. You can take a bullet and you can put it on either a Yagi or a dish. This bullet just comes, it doesn't come with an antenna. It has a Type-In connector on it, like I said. So you can put it on something else. You can put it on a directional antenna. I've already put this one together on a Omni antenna. I've got another bullet or two in the house, and I may put one of those up on like a dish or something. I haven't decided yet, but this is the one right here. If you go to hamradio2.com and look at episode 76, which will be this episode, I'll have links to this and to the bullet and everything else that I talk about today. But this is the Nano Station, which has a 120-degree sector antenna. So it's directional. I'll put it up like that so you can see it in the camera a little bit better. Now, what you don't want to do, and I say you don't want to do, what I didn't want to do, there's two versions of this. There's the M2 and the Nano Station M2, or for short they call it an NS M2, and there's an NS Loco M2. The Loco is low power. So if you're putting up nodes that are real close to one another, maybe indoors somewhere, the Loco's, it's about half the price also. So in order to save a little bit of money, you can get a Loco station. But I'm putting this one up on the house, and I'm going to point it towards the water tower on one of the cities. It's actually the hospital. I'm going to point it towards the Grapevine Hospital because there's a node up there that one of the local clubs have put up, and I'm going to try to hit that node. I don't think I'm going to actually get up on the roof and put this on the air today. It was snowing yesterday in North Texas, if you can believe that. And it's still kind of slick out there a little bit. The sun's out today. Most of it's melted off, but a lot of the roofs on the houses around me have ice on them, and I don't feel like getting... my roof's about 24 feet in the air. So don't really feel like getting up there today. But I wanted to still do this episode. We're going to go through how to set this up, how to program it, and I may even go ahead and update my bullet while I have this, after I update the Nano, so that we can see the two talk to one another. I'll set the bullet up in the house or something and put the Nano up out here and point them at one another and see if we can talk that way with them. So let's take a look at what... I kind of got sidetracked with that. With the Nano Station is if you go to the Ubiquiti website, the output power is rated in dBm for the Nano Station, so it's rated in 28 dBm. And if you just Google a dBm to watt calculator, you're looking at about 0.63 watts. So about half a watt, a little bit more than half a watt, not quite 2/3 of a watt. So just barely under 2/3 of a watt for the Nano Station. Now the Loco Station is rated at, scroll back, 23 dBm. So if you put that into the nifty dBm to watt calculator, you come up with 0.1995 watts. So it's about 1/10 of a watt. Okay, so this station right here, this Nano Station that I purchased, I got it on Amazon. I have a Prime account, so I got free shipping. It was like $80 roughly. When we first started looking at these a couple years ago, getting into this mesh thing, these were about twice the price, so they've come way down. You can get a Loco Station for about $40, okay? But you're talking about 1/6 of the power, basically, because you're like right under 0.2, right under 1/5 of a watt, and this one's almost 2/3 of a watt. So if you're going to put it outside and try to point it at something a couple miles away or something, this is what you want. If you have got a couple nodes that are close together that you're trying to build a smaller network or something, maybe you've got two nodes, maybe you've got a big node up on your house, you want to put another one in your shack, another one in the backyard, something like that, and they're just going to talk to one another, your Loco Station will work fine. But for my purposes, I wanted as much power as I can get in the station itself, so that's what this is. So let's I'm gonna open this up real quick. This is brand new. I've not even opened this up yet. So it's still got the Ubiquiti, the stock Ubiquiti firmware on it. And we're going to show you, we're going to go through do some screen caps and see how to update that. Here is the actual radio. The radio and antenna built into one. That's another thing. The bullet, which you can get a bullet for about $60 normally. If you watch real carefully, you can find them for 40 to 45. The bullet doesn't come with an antenna. You have to buy the antenna separately. This is all inclusive. So it's got a bracket on the back of it for mounting to a mast. So that'll be nice. Let's see. What else we got? Zip ties for mounting. Power adapter, PoE power adapter. So what this is, and a 110 outlet plug. So what you do is you take this power adapter here, and of course you have to have. We don't have to, I guess, but most people have an Ethernet running to the nano station so that they can log into it via hardline and do firmware updates, and you can connect cameras to it, IP cams to it, and that kind of stuff. So this guy right here, we would plug in this to the wall outlet, and then it's got PoE and LAN. So what we do is run the PoE, power over Ethernet. PoE is power over Ethernet. We'd run the PoE from here. So this will probably go in my garage. And then I'll run an Ethernet cable, which I actually have one of those. I have an outdoor Ethernet cable that I bought a while back for this very purpose. Basically, you just want UV shielded cable. And if you're going to have the Cat5 Ethernet connector outside, which I don't think we will here, but if you're going to have it outside, then you want to have that weatherproof as well. So let me figure out how to take this off of here. Oh, there it is. There's a button on the back of it right there. So this guy right here has main and secondary. I'm not sure what the secondary is used for. Perhaps to plug something into it. So what I'll do is I'll plug this into the garage, into my power outlet in the garage, and then I'll run it outside the garage, up the house, up to the mast, and plug it into the main power outlet, the main Ethernet port on this router, and that will be both my power over Ethernet, and it will supply me with a connection that I can use later on if I want to put a second cable on it and do that. But it's wireless. I mean, you can log into it wirelessly, and that's kind of the point, but you know, kind of however you want to do it. You can put a second line on the Ethernet port, and since this is in the garage, you don't need a very long one. You just plug a second line in here to the LAN port, and you can run an IP cam on it. You can run a server of some sort, maybe a file server on it. You can plug this line into your laptop and do firmware updates via hardline rather than having to do it over the air. So however you want to do it. So let's put this together and plug it up to the laptop here and do the firmware update to the AREDN firmware. This is the screen that is the default screen when you first plug in the Ubiquiti wireless radio. So I had to I couldn't get it to come up at first, so I had to actually read the instructions. So when all else fails, read the instructions. So what we have to do in order to get the default, and now this is on the Nano. This may differ. This is on the Nano Station M and the Nano Station Loco M. So either one of those. But just if you get a Ubiquiti Node, just read the instructions. It'll tell you how to log into it the first time. So what we're going to do here is, so what I had to do this is I had to change my local area connection in Windows to a static IP, something on the 192.168.1.x network. And I just picked 2, but my default gateway is going to be the Nano Station, and the Nano Station, according to the instructions, is 192.168.1.20. So when I type that in right here, it comes up and it tells me that you can see it's not a secure connection. That's okay. that kind of thing. So we're going to log into this, and the username and password will be in your instructions as well. That, log in, select your country. Oh, okay. Come on. Here we go. And this is what the radio looks like by default. So now what we need to do is I was at this this is the AREDN website here. So under software and download, you get to this page that I'm on right now. Oh, right. There's no internet connection because I plugged into the Ubiquiti instead of my home Wi-Fi. So let's see if I can get that page to come back. I might not be able to get it to come back. There. AREDN. Oh, no, it's not going to let me come back here. Okay. Turn my Wi-Fi back on. Okay, we refreshed. Here is the AREDN page network. I just won't be able to click out of it again. Anyway, go to areden.org and go to software and click right there where it says download, and it will walk you through these instructions. Now, before flashing a Ubiquiti device that is running or has been running AirOS version 5.6, I have no idea what version this is, but we can probably tell version right there, 5.6.2. Okay. So please run this AREDN U-Boot test program below before attempting the firmware update. Okay, so download from this link here. Now I've already downloaded this and I've got it running right here. So I couldn't ping it again a minute ago. Okay, so it came up with this IP automatically, and it came up with this username and password automatically because these are default settings for the Ubiquiti. So I didn't set anything in here yet. Okay, so I'm gonna, but I did confirm that we're connected, and it's, I had to change the static IP on my laptop here, and just something with 192.168.1 dot something, and then set the gateway to the Ubiquiti router, which is 20. So I did that, and I'm gonna run the test. I'm gonna see what comes back. Okay, so bad version, good map. Okay, so what that means is basically it means that the firmware on the stock Ubiquiti node is too new for the AREDN update. So if the test results are good, you may proceed to load the appropriate AREDN firmware onto it. If the test results are bad, then you should do the following. Back up your device partitions using AREDN device partitions. I don't think I need any of that because, well, let's see. Backup. Okay, yeah, I'll just go ahead and make a backup. Yeah, that's fine. So we're going to make a backup. Save it to my documents folder in Windows. No idea how long this takes. This is the first time I've ever done this. I loaded BBHN firmware onto that bullet that I showed you guys earlier, and that was fairly simple. That was, I don't know, 4 or 5 different steps, but I've actually never loaded AREDN firmware onto a Ubiquiti node as of yet. So this is learning experience for both of us. So while that's running, you can come down here and look, and this page gives you all of the devices that are compatible with the AREDN firmware. So that's kind of cool. Tells you how to update firmware flash over the air. And I think that's what we're going to do with the bullet here in a minute. Once I get this running, Well, I don't know, because I don't know. Well, maybe it might work. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to try that and see how it works, because I know that my Bullet has BBHN firmware, but I don't remember what version. Let's see. Change to Windows Basic. Blah blah blah. It always does that. I don't care. Okay. Where did we go? Let's go see. Okay, that's done. Okay, to let me change the directory there. Okay, so the first thing I do is backup. We've done our backup. Use the AirOS GUI to downgrade AirOS to version 5.5.x. So let's downgrade. Okay, I'm gonna have to disconnect the Ubiquiti Node and get back on the real internet in order to downgrade these two files. Rerun the AREDN boot test program and look for good food. Can save. Use the Aerosoft GUI. Okay, so I need to use this. No. This to downgrade right there. Okay. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. It doesn't really tell you how to do that. It just says use AirOS GUI to downgrade AirOS to this version. Okay, so I gotta tinker around in here for a little bit and figure out where I can upgrade and downgrade firmware from this graphical user interface GUI here. So let me figure that out, and I'll start the camera again. Okay, so I got the two files downloaded here. There's two files on this site. If you read carefully, it says for the XW and XM hardware. I don't know what the difference is. Different, probably manufacture dates or something. I don't know. But if you go into your NanoStation, the GUI, to log into the actual device, my current firmware version, this is on the Systems tab. My current firmware version is XM version 5.6.2. So I am going to upload the XM version, because I've got an XM, which is X-ray mic, and I've got an XW, X-ray whiskey version. So I'm going to do the XM version right there. Open. Upload. Please wait. Uploading firmware. Probably going to want to reboot after it's done. Does not support long passwords. Please make sure the current password is up to 87. Yeah, it is. That's fine. It's the default password. Update. Firmware is being updated. This should be fairly straightforward. Anybody who's done firmware updates on routers or even on your radio before. We do firmware updates on DMR radios all the time. So anybody who's done anything like that, you're looking at basically the same thing. This should not be anything new to you. Okay, there we go. I cut out the middle there because you guys don't want to watch that. It's like watching grass grow. But that was about 3 minutes, maybe 3.5 minutes, something like that. So we're going to log back into it with the same username and password that we had. Confirm the version is 5.5.11, and I'm going to go back here to my nifty tool, and I'm going to run this test again. Good. There we go. Okay, now everything's passed. So, back over here, the tests are good. You can safely use the AirOS GUI to install the Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again, and I should have downloaded the stupid firmware from AREDN. I haven't done that yet. I'm not very prepared for that. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did with the Ubiquiti firmware, except now we're going to do it with the AREDN firmware. I don't know why it makes you downgrade it first. That's the instructions that are on the AREDN website, and that's what we've done. So there's something about the way that the AREDN firmware meshes with the Ubiquiti firmware that it doesn't work with the newer Ubiquiti firmware stuff. So I'm following the instructions. I suggest you do the same. Don't try to shortcut it. That kind of thing. So these are the latest stable versions of AREDN firmware. I have a NanoStation, NanoBridge, NanoStation. I don't have a Nano. Oh, they're right there. I have a NanoStation M2. That's the one we're working with right now. You'll see that the Loco is actually different firmware right here. And this right here, factory, means, am I installing the firmware over a Ubiquiti factory firmware? Which, yes, I am. So I'm going to download this link here in just a second. If I had older version of the AREDN firmware, older than 3.16.1.0, and I wanted to update to 3.16.1.0 from an older existing AREDN version, I would download this. Okay, they're the same size, just a little bit less than 5 megabytes each. So let me go download this version, and we'll upload it and see what it looks like. Okay, I've got the AREDN 3.16.1.0 downloaded right here. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to do the same thing we did, except we're going to use the AREDN firmware right there. And upload. This will probably take another 3.5 minutes, something like that. Warning, uploader firmware is third party. Make sure, yep, we're good with that. Now, while that's doing that, we'll go see if software dogs installation. Installation, that's where I need to be. Okay, so we'll go over to that screen in a second. As soon as this is done, we'll go over to that screen. And, nope, not that. Okay, we're going to wait for this. I don't want to foul with this, so we're going to wait for that to finish. There we go. Okay, that's all loaded up, ready to go. If we go back to the AREDN website and go to installation, you'll get to this page right here. The top of this page is basically told us the same thing that the downloads page told us. Gives us the links to download the firmware. All this stuff right here is basically what we've already just completed. So, warning is displayed that the selected firmware is third party. Click update. We did that. Firmware updated. Took about another 3 to 4 minutes to update that this time. And this is where I stopped, basically. With the node was rebooted after the update. The automatic update attempt to display the web page fails because the node is not at this IP address anymore. So that's where I left off. So now we need to go back to DHCP. And this is telling us to go change our static IP address. The AREDN node is going to provide an IP. So we need to select obtain an IP address automatically, which I've already done that. That yeah, I've already done that. So we're back on DHCP. So we can go here. We should also select the radio button automatically. Yep, we did that. Your LAN is connecting. Did that. Computer 6. Right clicked on the. Okay, so we're going to go back to the network settings here. Okay. Your computer successfully obtained an IP. I don't think. Okay. So I had unplugged the Ethernet cable from the back of the laptop. So I should have right there. That's what we want right there, because here's where I'm connected to my home Wi-Fi. These three with the red X's are not connected. So that's where I'm connecting my home Wi-Fi. So that's the local area connection 2, and that's the only thing that's connected right now, so that's got to be it. So we're going to right-click, select the support tab, 1.1. Okay, so we're going to do right-click, right-click on the LAN connection in the status. Hold on, let me look at, I'm not sure what they're... Yep, that's the Windows setup, okay. Right-click on the LAN connection and select Status. Status, there we go, okay. Now, okay, then select the Support tab. I don't have a Support tab. The computer has an IP address, and the gateway, the AREDN node in this case. Okay, so this looks like Windows XP from the screenshot here, and I'm running Windows 7. So I am not seeing this, but I'm going to turn off my wireless here. So now the wireless is off and I'm connected only to the node, and the computer has an IP address, the gateway. Okay, so I think it just wants me to, it wants me to look at the IP address, properties, because it's not giving me the same screen. Okay. It's not going to tell me that there. And the node itself is online in green. Okay. Okay. Interesting. It, properties. It is on DHCP. Okay. So let me try to do it the old-fashioned way. It thinks everything's disconnected. Oh no, there it is right there. 1.24. That's my IP address. So it doesn't show in this stupid window here. But my IP address is currently, yeah, local mesh 1.24. Okay, so I'm going to go here. And I'm going to say open in a new tab. Doom. And that is the mesh node screen. This node is not yet configured. Go to the setup page and set your node name and password. Setup page. So okay. We need to complete the initial setup with your call sign password. Please follow the node setup guide. So it's not going to let me open this page. Keep having to switch back and forth to networks, which is really kind of, I guess I should be doing this with 2 computers, but I wanted to record it to put it on the video, so that's why it, I keep having to reconnect to my home Wi-Fi and disconnect to the home Wi-Fi and use the node router. So let's do that again. Open your browser and go to local node port 8080, which we've done that. That is right here. Okay. And then, let's see, complete the initial setup. Click on the setup button and the authentication required dialog box appears, which is what we have popped up there. Username is root and the password is HSMM. This is all lowercase. Just like that. Boom. Never save. I don't like that anyway. The basic setup page is displayed. Enter the node name that includes your call sign. Recommended format is call sign identifier, where the identifier is a descriptive name, no spaces, and series of numbers. Okay. So I'm going to go node name KC5HWB, and I'm just going to say, let's just say 1. Okay. And enter a new password twice. Password. What do I want for that? Good. Set the distance value to non-zero by using the slider. Farthest node to communicate with. Distance value, I don't see that. Okay, I'm going to ignore that because save changes. Boom. Okay. Select the Save Changes button. This will write the changes to the node and reboot it. I didn't see it reboot. Configuration not saved. Invalid distance value. Okay, so it does want me this distance value. Where is this slider it's talking about? Down here? No. Okay. Set the distance value to non-zero by using the slider underneath it to set the value to the distance to the furthest node that you expect to be communicate with. Let's see. I don't see a slider. Probably just missing it. Right here. Oh, this is a slider. Okay. Let's go. It's not that far away, but it's just that. Save changes. Okay, now it should reboot. There we go. Never. Node is rebooting. It's taking its own sweet time. It's still clocking down here in the bottom corner. Let's just let's do this. There we go. Okay, so it is there. Mesh status. This is the page that will show you if I was connected to any other nodes. That is where it would be, right there. So, and these are previous neighbors that maybe I connected. Maybe someone's got a mobile node, and they drove by and it connected for a minute, but now it's gone. So it would be under this stage here. Let's see. Quit. Okay. There's all the stuff you want to know about the node. olsr.org daemon. Wi-Fi scan. These are the current Wi-Fi networks where I am located right now. Select a theme. Anyway, so that is the AREDN node setup. Now this is the page right here that you'd stay on most of the time, because when other people connect to you, they will be shown there. And actually, hold on, there's a way to... I need to go in here and change channels. That's the cool thing that is about... let's see, root. Okay, never for this site. Okay, so if we go into setup, we can go into probably channel. Here it is, channel 1. Now, the cool thing about that makes AREDN different from Broadband Hamnet, it has channels -1 and -2. Okay, these are all channels 1 through 11 are all public Wi-Fi channels, which we have access to in amateur radio. But channels -1 and -2, 23 97 megahertz right there. Those are amateur-only frequencies, which the general public does not have access to. So, not legally anyway, I'll put it that way. And I changed my channel width because I was talking with some of the local guys here the other day, and they said that their nodes are set to 5 megahertz bandwidth. I am told, I don't know if this is true or not, but I believe it is, if you have two nodes that are running on the same channel but the bandwidth is different, they won't see each other. So if you're building a network with a bunch of your ham buddies out in your area, make sure you're all using the same channel right here and the same bandwidth. The wider bandwidth is probably going to get you a little bit farther, but the narrower bandwidth is going to cut down on your noise floor and make it easier for more people to get in on the action. So, yep. Save changes. There we go. Now we're going to go back and see if I see anybody, but I'm sure I won't. My node's sitting right here on the table inside of the shack, so it's not going to see anybody like that. But that is how to set up an AREDN mesh node. Now I need to plug up my bullet and see if I can figure out how to update it to AREDN from the broadband hamnet that it's on. And then I can show you what they look like when they talk together. Okay, here we go. I updated my bullet that was running BBHN 3.0.0 firmware, which is kind of old. And so the only way to do, the way to do that is very easy. All you do is you go over here to the system upgrade. Pick your piece of hardware. This was a bullet. Mine was a bullet M2. Okay, so I picked this one. I clicked System Upgrade, even though it was running BBHN firmware and not AREDN firmware. Okay, because right here it says, use System Upgrade file when loading from AREDN or from BBHN. So I'm like, okay. So I downloaded this file, flashed it, rebooted, set it up, just exactly the same way that we did the NanoStation a minute ago. So that was very simple. So if you have BBHN node, just get the System Upgrade file, load the firmware, and good to go. So I've got both of the nodes connected right here in the shack right now. It's current neighbor. I'm logged in. I've got my NanoStation connected to the laptop right now, hardline. Okay, and it is talking. And that's KC5HWB1. That's the one we set up a minute ago. It is talking to wirelessly KC5HWB2. So what you can do with these mesh nodes is when you connect them together, it doesn't know. See, right now I'm logged into KC5HWB2, but it looks exactly like I'm logged into the hardline on KC5HWB1. So I can go in here to KC5HWB2, and I'm confirmed that node number 2 is at the top. I can go into Setup. Luckily, I set the password the same on both of them. I can go in here, I can change the name. I can change anything I want to. And I can go back, mesh status, and if there were multiple neighbors here, they'd all be listed right here. But I'm actually logged in, so if I want to update the firmware on a node I'm not connected to, all I got to do is connect to it with another node, and then click on it, and move over to it and update it that way. So I've got full control of that node through the mesh network. Now I'm back on my home, my NanoStation. This is node 1 is the NanoStation, node 2 is the bullet. And you can switch back and forth between them all you want to. Now the link quality in here is pretty well. Actually, that link quality came up. Okay, they were down at 11% a minute ago. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So LQ is link quality. NLQ, I forget what that is. This is your transfer rate right here. So that is them connected together and what they look like. So if I had some neighbors with different call signs, they'd all be listed right down here underneath in my current neighbor section. I've seen them 10, 15, 20 nodes all at once, because my node doesn't have to see its neighbor. It sees its neighbor, and it sees all the neighbors that its neighbor sees. So if I have a node way on the other side of KC5HWB2 that node 1 can't see, but 2 can see, then it'll list it in here too. So it's pretty slick the way it works. But I'm going to put these up on the house, and I'll do another episode later on and see, and let you guys know how it's going with that. That was the setting up of an AREDN mesh node. One station was stock from the factory from Ubiquiti, and the other station had some BBHN on it, older BBHN firmware on it. And like I said, I just downloaded the system update from AREDN for that specific model of radio, loaded it in there, done, rebooted, done. I just had to go in and set it up with my call sign and everything. Put it on the same channel, same bandwidth that the original, the nano station that we just did was on. So thank you for watching, guys. This is going to be cool. I'll probably do some more episodes upcoming once I get the node actually up on the house. My plan is to put it up. I told you that my roof was about 24, 26 feet in the air. I've got a chimney that I'm going to bolt it to with a 10-foot mast, and it should be about 35-ish feet in the air at that point in time. After that, I might put another mast on top of it and push it up above 40 feet in the air. I'm going to do some experimenting with it and see what kind of... Depends on what I can see with it. Depends if I put it up at 35 feet and I start seeing the nodes that are up on the water towers locally, that I know where they are, that I can point them to at the hospital and the water towers, then I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it there. Assuming the link quality is good, I'll just leave it there. But if I have to push it up a little bit more, I'll do that as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Not sure yet, but that'll be another episode upcoming. Once the weather gets a little bit warmer, it's a little bit safer to climb up on the roof. That'll be a continuation. So stay tuned. Any comments, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube video and make comments on YouTube, or head over to livefromthehamshack.tv, also at hamradio2.com. Both of those URLs will take you to the same website, and you can make comments on the actual page itself also. On the post on hamradio2.com, I'll have links to the 2 different Ubiquiti radios that I have, and links to the AREDN site and all that kind of good stuff. So 73, thank you for watching, and hope to hear you guys on the air.